Every morning drive starts with a handshake.
There we go.
Even though we've had many handshakes, and already today we've had a few. So we're doing our first morning drive together.
Yep.
And this gentleman might be reversing, but doesn't look like it. So here's a cool story. Right now we're driving a 2023 Chevy Tahoe with a ridiculous payment. It's like $1,420 a month. And I've been driving these now for 3 years and flipping them at a GM discount. So when we bought our property up here, a friend of mine, I needed a truck. And a friend of mine's like, well, why don't you go into the flip program because your family has the GM discount. And I said, flip program? Tell me about that. So the first truck, I made I think it was around $2,000. I got all my payments back and then netted about $2,000. And then a few Denali's that I had were about $8,000. And this one here, yep, I just got the call from the salesperson last week. So our net equity is going to be about $6,700.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so we're driving $100,000 vehicles and making money.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
Paid to drive.
Yeah, it won't last.
Very cool.
It won't last forever.
No,
but the U.S. dollar is a big part of it because these get exported to the States.
They go in, as used vehicles, and they're barely used by U.S. standards.
That's right. So the supply down there is tight. They have an advantage with their U.S. dollar, and there's two stipulations for GM Canada. One is it has to have 12,000 kilometers, and they cannot export it until it reaches 6 months. That's my rant.
Yeah.
But a tip if you got a GM discount, you should go check out your GM sales rep and ask them about the flip program. All right.
I don't have a GM discount, but I love my Jeep too.
You do. You love that Jeep, and I see it everywhere.
I love my Jeep.
Okay, so what's going on with Renforth? There's been a few news releases out since we've last done something a couple months ago.
Yep.
Where's the company at?
The company's well financed now. We had the opportunity to sell our Radisson position, which gives us some money in the till, which is good.
Can you disclose how much? Or
the cash balance of the company right now is probably in the $2 million range. Actually, I don't even know off the top of my head. However, we will be spending it because we'll be drilling. Okay. So we'll be doing some very interesting drilling at Surimo. Tightening up our prior drilling over 2.2 kilometers left a lot of spaces between holes, so we'll tighten that up so they're spaced 100 meters apart.
Infilling?
It's infilling 100 meters because we need 100 meters for an indicated resource in the future.
Okay. And
we'll also drill deeper. So to drill deeper, we'll pull the drill back to the north. And that should also let us get under or get through the different horizons of mineralization we've found. Because we've seen 3 at Surimo. Right. We call it a horizon, but there's 3 elements to it so far.
Okay.
And when we receive our permits and announce the program with a bit more detail, we'll also be giving people our geological model we're working on, or what we're working from. Because there is a precedent to Surimo, which is a good thing. Takes away the mystery.
Right.
And, and I've said the precedent before, it's Outokumpu, but we'll explain what that is and how we have the same thing happening at Surimo.
Now, is that something you can explain on a webinar?
Yeah. It's very simplistically explained. It's just, unfortunately, Outokumpu has been a mining district that started mining several mines in a very compact regional space. Started mining in the early 1900s. It's a big deal district, but it's in eastern Finland, and we're in, Ontario. So It's a little removed from the average Canadian junior mining investor. So we have to do a little bit of education there, but it's a good precedent.
What's the most exciting part for you right now with the company? The drilling, the assays? I know there's some delays there.
So I neglected that. We finished our prospecting. We spent about 2.5 weeks-ish in the field, visiting a whole bunch of areas in the south of the property where we could see pegmatites. Well, we could see the granites through the trees on high-res satellite photos, and the geologists went out to the granites and found pegmatite in most instances, previously unrecorded, unsampled. So we took a bunch of samples, A couple of those look fairly interesting in terms of lithium. We'll see what the lab says. So that'll be a separate story altogether if something comes of it. We did a little bit of base metals prospecting, and the novelty there is it's visible. So we found new mineralization north of Lalonde. We'll get the numbers back, but we can see it. So waiting for assays. The lithium stuff is like a roll of the dice. If something comes out of that, that's an outlier.
Right.
I don't know what that'll mean. And then we did some prospecting ahead of where we're going to drill. We literally sent the guys out to check out collars and ground conditions. Permits have been applied for. They'll come through. It's just a matter of a couple weeks. So that's all good. And then we're updating our model for Parbec, which is our gold deposit.
Yeah.
That's sort of exciting. I'm waiting to see. The geologist working on that had done some work for us in 2019. So he's updated his data with all our 2021 drilling, and he should start being able to deliver his initial material to me this week. And once he's done, we will release to the market our updated model for Parbec. So that's exciting because it then leads us to our formulation of our next drill targets at Parbec. But that's a next year thing at this point.
Okay. So you got assays coming out.
Yeah.
You sold some shares of equity you had in another company because you didn't want to dilute at a suppressed stock price.
Correct.
Any particular thoughts on the market as a whole? Today, Canada released some inflation from August. We're at 4% due to gas prices, energy prices.
Yeah, and yesterday Canada sat down all the grocery companies and read them the Riot Act too.
Right. Well, and it's fascinating because probably 3 or 4 weeks ago, we got some Q2 data that shows that the economy contracted.
Yeah.
And that was in quarter two. If you have two back-to-back negative
technical recession.
Recession. Listen, I love talking to business owners about how sales are. I tell them what I do for a living, and most people are really slow.
No, exactly.
It's like Main Street's hurting. And we've talked about the financial vice. And I mean, I guess how does this correlate to investors? Take the floor.
Well, I mean, it's a financial vice. We have two things that are taking the energy out of the market. I mean, as a whole, the mining market is, all issuers are down, and the number I'm told is in the vicinity of 70%. There are always outliers that are related to news, but that's across the board. So the financial vice people are in, for the most part, wages are fairly inert. Interest rates are rising, meaning if you have a mortgage, you have credit card debt, you have a line of credit, you have any of that, it's costing you more to service that. And in some instances, that's like an extra payment, like an extra mortgage payment a month for some people that are really leveraged on their assets. I have high net worth shareholders who are like, they're just looking for liquidity wherever they can find it. Mm-hmm. So a search for liquidity means that junior companies, junior stocks can get punished in that shareholders just need to exit. If there's a bid, they're hitting the bid because they just need cash. They don't care at what cost it comes.
Yeah.
Because their monthly nut is out of control if they're leveraged.
Right.
The flip side of the interest rates is in a GIC, you can make a better return on a GIC than you did 2 years ago.
Right, 5%, 4.5%.
Yeah, whatever it is. Pretty boring, but reliable. So some guys that are very risk averse right now, because they're worried about the financial situation, they just put their money into GICs.
Yeah, and I mean, I think inflation's higher than 4% personally. So I think even if you are getting 4%, whatever, you're not even making inflation.
But I mean, the bottom line is the middle class sector, which is the sector that's likely to invest in higher risk things, where there's a much higher reward, they really don't have a lot of cash at hand right now. Mm-hmm. There are always exceptions to broad generalizations like that.
Yeah.
But by and large, people are, really living paycheck to paycheck right now.
Yeah. So
they're not investing, which is unfortunate but understandable. Like junior mining, offers you leverage and potential reward, because there are so many factors that drive the price. And the price can move much faster and further than blue chip equities. But, this too shall change, right? Nothing is forever.
Yeah. Well, hey, you've recently got some new shareholders from our community. We know that because they've sent messages and stuff like that, saying they're new shareholders, and they got a pretty good deal in their own opinions, grabbing some of your stock at 1%, or sorry, 1 cent, and that at a penny, that would be what, around a $3 million market cap.
Yeah. And I mean, Parbec, although we do consider the 2020, May 2020, resource at Parbec to be out of date. It's valid. It's a baseline.
Would you say the company's assets are worth more than the market cap of the company?
Yep. Well, Parbec's the measured one. Surimo, we're moving towards a resource statement for Surimo.
Yeah.
But we have to do a lot more drilling. And, we'll drill off the 2.2 kilometers just because that's where we're working. It's a starting point at Surimo, but there's 20 kilometers of mineralized horizon in Victoria and another 9 to the north at Lalonde. Are we in the right 2.2 kilometers? It's where we started, because we started at the road and we went west, so.
Right.
It's a good place to start, but it's exciting. I mean, the end of the year, we're going to finish, because what we drill is visual, so we're going to know as we're drilling how it's going, and we're going to finish creating quite a bit of interest. So, yeah, it's going to be fun.
Well, thanks for the update. We will be doing a webinar with Nicole. We don't have a hard date on that, but it should be anywhere from 3 weeks to 5 weeks, and maybe we'll stagger that with some of the news that you have, and because that'll be more of a deeper presentation. So depending on when news is coming out and stuff like that, but keep an eye out for that. Make sure you join Nicole's community and sign up to her newsletter, because she's pretty active.
Yeah.
Follow her on social media, of course. People know our handles at FTM Invest on any social media platform.
Yeah, no, we're just Renforth Resources. So.
All right. Well, we're signing off from beautiful Inniskillen, Ontario. It's a nice day here in Southern Ontario.
Nice day.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.